Hi, welcome to the Inner Labyrinth. My name is Debbie. I'm your host, and today we're going to be talking about doing the things that you want to do, even if you're alone, like doing cool things that you want to do, even if nobody wants to join you. I feel like I've encountered people that aren't comfortable with doing things by themselves, like, for example, going out to a restaurant and eating by themselves, going out to a show by themselves, a concert, going out traveling by themselves. And I feel like they're missing out on a really big opportunity of getting to know themselves and experiencing who they are when they're not with somebody. So I feel like there are so many different selves that we have that come out with different people. Different self that we have when we're by ourselves, different self when you're with your parents, with your siblings, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your boss. Different selves of you come out. And it's not that you're fake or any of them are fake. They're just you in a different circumstance. And I feel like, for example, if you go out to dinner or lunch by yourself, then you get to observe who you are in that situation without the pressure of having to perform, right? For example, if you go with a friend, not that you're performing, but you are being this persona that's you with this friend. When you go by yourself to do something, you don't have to perform. You can just exist. There's no talking that has to happen. There's no shared conversation that has to happen. Nothing is expected of you. You can do whatever you want, right? You can be on your phone. You can observe other people. You can just do whatever you want. And I feel like I've met people. So, for example, I like to travel by myself and I prefer traveling on my own. I like to meet up with people at certain places for a period of time, right? But I prefer to travel by myself and I love it. And I love to go to different countries and see what's going on. And I get to be a different Debbie, a Debbie without responsibilities, a Debbie without this, all of this that encompasses me right now, right? When I get to be plucked up and put somewhere else, that's a new Debbie. She has to adapt to the language, to the transportation, to where she's going to live, to finding out where the clean water is, to finding out where to eat, to finding out what to do, to meeting the local people. I am then invited to exist in a new environment and I learn about myself as well as I increase this inner fortitude and strength and trust in myself to figure it out. And that's something that no one can take away from me. And that is something that I don't think is going to be there. It wouldn't be there if I went with somebody. If I went with somebody, now it's going to be a co-communication situation where now we're figuring it out. Now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do that. For me, when I travel, I don't like to compromise. I don't like to, for example, if I go with somebody, we have to figure out where to eat together. We have to figure out things together. If they don't feel like doing something that day that I feel like doing, then we have to find a compromise, right? I don't like to do that. I I like to do things when I want how I want them. And I like to explore new places without what feels like pressure to me. I know this sounds antisocial. I'm not. I love people, but I do feel like there's so much pressure to perform to be a person when you're around somebody, even if you don't want there to be. Even if that person feels like home and super safe and super great, even if they're your best friend for your entire life, there's still a version of you that exists only with that person. And I really like to observe without being observed and perceived and expected from, because that is what happens. It's a quiet thing that happens, but it's real, right? And so I kind of feel like I've met people that say something like, "Oh, you've traveled by yourself? Like, who did you go with?" And I say, "Oh, by myself." And they're like, "Oh, do you usually do that?" Like, I would never. I could never. And to me, I'm like, well, no, you could. You just buy a ticket, you do your research, you book a hostel, which is what I do, and then you just stay there. And they're like, well, you don't have any friends there? And I was like, yeah, but there's people everywhere. There's people everywhere. I think people forget that there's people everywhere and that every single friend that you have now was a stranger. And so it's like, you're never alone. And actually, to be alone, that actually takes more effort. So, like I said, I stay at hostels, which is a shared bedroom, is a shared bed in a bedroom, usually bunk beds in there, right? You're paying for a bunk bed per night, something like $20 versus 100 or some bucks at a hotel by yourself. I think it's a great way to meet people and to save money. And it gives you a community when you're there, when you're in a new place, and a sense of not being alone because other people are on the same wavelength as you, as this attitude of like, hey, let's go explore and meet people, right? So I feel like people forget that I guess what I'm trying to say in this episode is don't hold yourself back from doing the cool things that you want to do just because no one's doing them with you. Understand that you're going to meet cool people that are doing the thing that you want to do when you do the thing that you want to do. You're going to meet people that are interested in that class, interested in going to that place, interested in that country, interested in that city, interested in that restaurant. So, worst case scenario, you go by yourself to a certain thing, whatever it is, it's a little bit awkward and uncomfortable, right? Okay, that thing's going to end. You go back home, you assess, you have some data now. Best case scenario, you learn about yourself, you strengthen your relationship with yourself, you meet people that are maybe lifelong friends, you expand your experiences, your perspective about life, the world, who you are, what's going on, reality, questioning. Like just, there's so much life to be lived. And you are called to certain experiences because you're meant to be transformed by them in some way. In some way, shape, or form, you're meant to be transformed by them. And whenever you wait and you ask a friend, like, hey, you want to go to this place with me? And they say no, you're blocking yourself. Why are you waiting for somebody? You're a grown adult. You're a grown adult. I kind of forget. I kind of feel like we forget that we're not kids, that no, we don't really need permission to do things anymore. And that, yes, you are stronger than you think, and you are an independent individual, even if you think that you're not. I feel like we get so used to these structures. We go to school, we have the friends there. We go to college, we have the friends there. We go to work, we have the friends there. But what about when you want to branch out? What about when you want to do something that none of the people that you know right now want to do? Or a place you want to visit that nobody else wants to visit with you? I feel like you're missing out if you don't do yourself the favor of following through on a vision that's maybe meant only for you. Because maybe the vision isn't for them. Maybe they don't want to go to that place. They don't want to go eat with you. They don't want to go to that country. They don't want to go to that class. You need to understand that you're going to be okay. You doing that thing is going to be great. You're going to learn something. I would say do your research. Obviously, do your research, but don't be afraid. What you're going to look back on your life when you're maybe, let's say you're 90 years old, right? At 90 years old, you're not going to have, I mean, maybe you will, but from what I've seen, people don't have the same physical capacity as they do when they're younger. They don't have the same kind of freedom in that way. I kind of feel like your physical health is something that you really can't take for granted. If life is inviting you to do something, you need to go do it and then think about yourself looking back as a 90-year-old, looking back on your life and thinking, dang, I traveled the world when I was in my 20s. Oh, I lived in this city. I live in this country. I went over here. I went over there. I met this cool person. Oh my gosh. You don't understand how much more of a beautiful life you can have if you actually follow your intuition, because that's what it is. Your intuition is what tells you, hey, I want to go to this country. Hey, maybe I want to move to this place. And what helps me also, whenever I'm feeling like I want to change something up. So, for example, let's say I'm considering moving to a different country, a different state. I am a human being and I feel like fears can come up, right? Like, oh, what if it's not as good there as it is here? Or what if? And it's sometimes negative. I tell myself, well, Debbie, you can always come back. You can always come back. And that kind of mentality has helped me move, right? I'm thinking about when I lived in Seattle. I had just done a Vipassana meditation. And if you don't know what that is, it's a 10-day long retreat where you meditate for 10 hours each day. So, and it's a completely silent retreat, and you're amongst other people's, avoiding eye contact, no music, no journaling, just silence. You wake up at 4 a.m., you meditate for like 2 hours, and you have a specific routine every single day, right? So I did this for 10 days. I was feeling like I needed to leave Seattle. I had been living there for 4 years. And I remember asking my friend, I had a roommate in the retreat, which was in Washington. Even though we were silent the entire time, at the end, you can talk. The last day, everyone can talk. And we became friends. And I remember telling her, I was like, oh, I think I'm thinking about moving to San Diego from Seattle. But I don't know, I don't know, like, I don't know, basically. Because the doubts that I had were something like, I have a good life here. I have a good life here. Like, why would I move? But I had visited San Diego already. I think by that point I had already. And I felt called. I was like, what if I just move over there? And my friend was like, yeah, I mean, you should move. Like, I don't know if she said you should move, but she did say, well, you can always come back. And those words liberated me so much because I was like, right, like I can. It's so easy for us to want to hold on to experiences, to places, to locations, to people without realizing, well, first of all, everything's changing. Second of all, if it's a place that you're trying to leave, you can always move back. Sure, there's going to be the challenges that there always is whenever you're moving to somewhere, yes, but you can always move back to that place. Everything will be different in a way for sure, but you always can come back. And I kind of feel like you need to find ways to give yourself permission to go after the things that you want to do and realize that you're worth it. You're worth the cool experiences. Why are you waiting for your homies to do something that you want to do? Is the thing not for you? Like, I don't want you to miss out on your own life. I want for you to have all the cool experiences that you want to have. I want for you to go for the things that you want to do. Ask yourself, though, I would say this. Ask yourself if the thing that you're questioning about doing or moving or visiting, is it because you want to do it? Or is it because social media? Is it because it's a fad? Is it because it's cool now? Is that why you want to do it? Because if it is an external kind of motivation like that, I would say examine. And if it's an internal motivation, something that you want to do, something that you're curious about, something that you've been looking into, that you've been curious about, something that doesn't leave your mind, then do that thing because that's only for you, right? Yes, you might share it with others, you might invite people, but even if they say no, do it. I feel like you need to do cool things. Do cool things with your life. You're going to learn. Worst case scenario is that you learn. That's it, right? I'm going to leave this episode at that. Remember that there are friends everywhere. There's people everywhere. And even if you don't know the same language, people are friendly. People are friendly. You have hand languages, you have facial features that you can kind of express what you want, You're never really alone. And also, in this day and age of our phones, of the internet, of WhatsApp, of Facebook, of Instagram, we have so much technology, so many avenues of direct contact that is honestly like the best time to go do the things you want to do. Go try that class, that yoga class, that dance class. Go to that little weekend trip. Go do a week trip somewhere else. Try things out. Gather data. Have an experience. Have a great time. Have a time, right? This is a bit of a tangent, but I would say when you do these things, don't go in with an expectation. I mean, do what you want, but I suggest going in with no expectation and allowing for the experience to surprise you. When there is no expectations, you're not putting your own perspective, your own pressure on, oh, this needs to be a great time. Oh, this needs to be awesome. Oh, I better make friends. Oh, I better learn this. I better do this. I better do that. You're going to stress yourself out. You're going to ruin your own experience. And you really might miss out on all the beauty that there already is in it. So I'd say Look within yourself. Do the cool things you want to do. Yes, invite your friends. You know, they say no, though. Do the thing. I feel like I covered everything. I feel like I covered everything. And do cool things. Go do cool things. And also, it's not that serious. I feel like it's so us. It's so human nature to be so very pros and cons and what will happen and how much is it going to cost and is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? It's like, don't you want to be older looking back on your life full of all the cool things that you did, all the places that you visited, all the times that you followed your heart and you met cool people and you fell in love with different places? Like, don't you want to live a beautiful life? Living a beautiful life requires change, requires saying yes to invitations that come within your soul. Whenever you get an inkling of, let me go do this thing, that's you. That's your soul. That's you talking to yourself. That's guidance happening. Go do cool things. So that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.